Rather lads, welcome back to 99 Sport. My name is Cossy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. Things are very interesting with Chelsea, especially in that attempt to sell Chelsea. Roman Abramovic has received another sanction, a couple of sanctions actually, because if you look at, we're going to look at the article from Sky. He's received a couple of sanctions, and in those, I think the most interesting one is that he cannot sell Chelsea, he cannot sell the club unless he's not going to make any profit. Of course, we know how much he has invested in the in Chelsea as a project, and of course, we all we all know how much money is put in there, regardless of of whether it's gonna get it out or not. Now, the UK government have sanctioned him. They placed a couple of blocks on him. He cannot sell Chelsea on a profit. So literally he has to sell Chelsea without a profit. And in the others that we will look at, the other sanctions, they cannot give contracts to they cannot give contracts to players. Chelsea cannot give their players new contracts, including Cesar Azpilicueta, including Antonio Rudiger, as well as Andreas Christiansen. All those players will be out of contract in the summer, but they cannot give them new contracts according to the new sanctions that have actually been placed by the UK government on Roman Abramovich. Now, listen, lads, I think before we go into it, what is important to know, and I assume that you already know, Chelsea is up for sale, and Roman Abramovich has already come out and said he will be listening to bids. He will be listening in, to bids from clubs that are from bids from bidders that are interested in buying Chelsea. And because a couple of bids have already been received in order to sell Chelsea. However, before the completion of the process, now the UK government has intervened, and they are saying the Russian cannot sell Chelsea, cannot make any profits on UK land, and I think that is where the point is. I think it's because of the Russia Ukraine Russia Ukraine situation. So the UK are saying, if you're selling Chelsea, you're Russian, right? So if you're selling Chelsea, you're not selling Chelsea and making money and making profit here on UK land. You either sell it without making any profit. That means he has to sell Chelsea at the exact at the exact price he bought it in the first place, because he can't make profit. I think this really puts Chelsea in a very, very difficult situation. But this is the story in detail, right? So this is the story in detail. Let's look at it. Let's have a simple look at it here on Sky. And this is what they've said. Right. Chelsea owner Roman Abramovich sanctioned by UK government. And the saying Chelsea owner Roman Abramovich have been sanctioned by the UK government, banned from transactions with UK individuals and businesses. Chelsea given special license to continue to operate. Only existing ticket holders can attend games. So we're gonna look at this because on a broader level, it really affects Chelsea Football Club. So this is the full story. Chelsea owner Roman Abramovich has been sanctioned by the UK government, meaning he's now unable to sell the club. Like because at first he was able to sell the club, and that's what he wanted to do, but now he is unable to do that. And moving on, Abramovich has had his assets frozen, a prohibition from transactions with UK individuals and businesses, a travel ban, and transport sanctions imposed on him. So literally, this is him. I mean, this is so many rights that have been taken away. Assets frozen. That is number one. So he really, literally cannot sell his assets in the UK. He can't do that. And then he can't do business with UK individuals or businesses, right? So if he's gonna sell Chelsea, then he has to sell it to someone abroad. And then there is also a travel ban and transport sanctions as well. Right, the sanctions are intended to stop the 55-year-old from making any money in the UK, and this includes from Chelsea as well. An application to the UK government can be made. An application to the UK government can be made to sell Chelsea in the future, as long as Abramovic does not profit or make money from the transaction. I think this is where it's quite complicated. What do they mean? He cannot make money, because honestly, if you're selling, then you're making money. So do they want him to just get the money invested in Chelsea and then walk away? Then that is absolute. That would be absolute. That would be unfair, because if you look at what Abramovich has done for Chelsea, and for football in the UK as well, and the Premier League, look, this could be a little bit unfair. But anyway, if we continue to look at the full story, the government have granted Chelsea a special license to allow fixtures to be fulfilled, staff to be paid, and existing ticket holders to attend matches. But however, Chelsea are now banned from the following, and this is where Chelsea are in trouble. One, they will not be offering contracts to players or staff. Antonio Rudiger, Andreas Christensen, and Cesar Azpilicueta see their deals expire on June the 30th. So that means all these players that you're looking at here on your, on the screen will actually not be able to sign new deals. Rudiger here and Andreas Christensen here, they cannot sign new deals, with Chelsea Football Club. And then the other thing, you're looking at here, you're looking at in here is that they won't be conducting any official transfer business. And, this is interesting. This is very interesting. And I would really love to see what many Chelsea fans think about this, because this is a ban not only to Abramovich but to Chelsea as well. So no official transfer business. Literally, you can't sign, and probably you can't sell, because again, transfer business is conducting business, so they can't conduct transfer business. They won't be selling new tickets to any game for their teams, including the women and junior sides. Season ticket holders and existing ticket holders only can use their tickets. So that means literally Chelsea in the upcoming fixtures, they won't be able to sell match day tickets to fans. I mean, that is again so strict. And more on that, selling merchandise to fans. Existing merchandise can be sold via third parties, so they cannot actually sell merchandise like shirts and jerseys. They literally can't sell merchandise. They literally can't sell merchandise directly. It is through third parties, right? No stadium work or redevelopment is allowed at the moment, and they will not be allowed to spend over £500,000 on security, stewarding, and catering costs per home match, and over 20,000 expenses per away games. Right. So this is tough. This is absolutely tough for Chelsea. This is Nadine Dorries, the Minister of Sport and Culture, tweeted and he said, "I know that this brings some uncertainty, but the government will work with the league and clubs to keep football being played while ensuring sanctions hit those intended. Football clubs are cultural assets and the bedrock of our communities. We are committed to protecting them. A government statement said, given the significant impact that today's sanctions would have on Chelsea Football Club and the potential knock-on effects of this, the government has this moment published a license which authorizes a number of football-related activities to continue at Chelsea Football Club. But for me, lads, this is absolutely ridiculous. This is one of the most ridiculous things that the UK government is doing. Not really, not really in light of Abramovic, but Chelsea. Chelsea is a club, and this is where it becomes very, very scary. They're trying to make Abramovic not any money, but they have forgotten one or two things, that the money that runs Chelsea, the money that will see Chelsea move on, is from Roman Abramovich. He can't sell the club and he can't make any money. Literally, you're drowning Chelsea. This is so bad for Chelsea, and I think for clubs like Arsenal, we might be as well having a laugh. We might be having a laugh because listen. If Chelsea don't make any money, they don't sell tickets, they don't do nothing that brings in money, they're gonna become Leeds. They're gonna become Newcastle. They're gonna, at some point in time, they're gonna crash. They're gonna crumble. And where do Chelsea go from here? They're gonna lose, because I don't know how long, for how long this goes on. I think what they want is to force Abramovich to sell at a very ridiculous, ridiculous cost. Like, he makes a very, very huge loss. I tell you, Chelsea. Remember, one of the things we know that is that Chelsea cannot even pay the money Roman Abramovich has been investing in them. If it is a debt, if it is in form of a debt, they can't pay that money. So he either has to walk away from all the money he has invested, in them as a club. Not only that, then he has to sell this club at a ridiculous price. But if he decides and he says, "Look, I'm gonna stay here for 5 years," honestly, if the UK government doesn't rethink, then Chelsea ceases to be a big club. Honestly, because we know the model they run as Chelsea is bringing the best talent. They don't groom players. Unless they're gonna go back to the basics, grooming players, they're gonna become a Newcastle. They're gonna become a Leeds. But Chelsea fans, let me know, and Arsenal fans and Manchester United fans, what do you think about this? For me, honestly, it is being caused by the Russia-Ukraine war. And that's why every business owned by Russians is being affected at the moment, logically and illogically. But I would really, really love to hear from you what your take is on this one. Chelsea banned from many income streams, and of course the UK government is saying they need to protect football clubs because they're a bedrock to these communities. We agree, but to what extent do you then protect these clubs? How far do you go to make sure that the sanctions do not only impact the owner, but they also impact the club? Chelsea in trouble. Interesting. I mean, you can't laugh because many clubs are being owned by foreign owners, and at some point in time, it can be Arsenal. We are being owned by a very, very, very ridiculous background. We're being owned by a very, very chaotic background, that is America. And at some point in time, America can start hitting maybe China. It can start hitting Azerbaijan and things like that, because it happens just like Russia woke up one day and they're like, "Look, we feel like hitting Ukraine," and when that happens, American owners and their assets are going to be in trouble. So probably. But at the moment, Chelsea, where do they go from here? Where do they go from here? My name is Cossy. 99 Sport is the channel you're watching. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and make sure I will make sure that I'll give you the latest in terms of this story always. I'll keep you updated.